place to work with Civic Commons members to put some of those ideas into action. Success measures include the number of ideas which are brought forward, participants reporting increased confidence and knowledge, and decision makers reporting closer relationships with local people in Peterborough. And closing that gap is one of the key outcomes for me as part of this programme. We also want Peterborough to have a positive reputation out of this as well, and being at the forefront of having a different type of conversation with its citizens. Currently we have 25 members signed up, and these people are, shall we say, not the traditional faces one might find at the typical local authority events and initiatives. I think people in the room will know exactly what I mean by that, is that quite often when the local authority does activities, you get the same faces turning up time in, time out. On this, we've been very, very, very deliberate in actually attracting people to this who are not those usual suspects, if I may use that phrase. These people are actually active in their communities by their own right. They're Brownie leaders, they're lead preachers, they're the lady who's run the corner shop for the last 25 years and has probably done more council in her community than any professional. They do litter picks. The guy who lives 400 yards from me does a litter pick every couple of weeks. But the one common thread that these people have is that their voices have not traditionally been heard in relation to what do they want, excuse me, from their city. Because these are not the usual suspects, we're also having a different type of conversation with them. They can actually see what they can bring to it, what added value they can bring, rather than what's in it for me, what am I going to get out of this. We've held 2 induction sessions and 2 informal training sessions as well, and we were absolutely delighted that the Parliamentary Outreach Service are going to be with us for the 2 years of this Strand. And Parliamentary Outreach are with us for the 2 years of the programme, and the first cohort, as we call them, of the Civic Commons will actually be visiting the House of Commons on the 17th of this month. A real opportunity to see debate in action, because not only are we going to get a tour, but we're going to stay there and we're going to see some live debate in the House of Commons. And having had a short tour with the Parliamentary Outreach last month, I was like a small boy in a toy shop on Christmas Eve. It was absolutely fantastic. The place is just inspirational. So my advice would be, if you get a chance to go, please do. It really is inspirational. The first Civic Commons proper will take place at the end of November, early December. And as I said earlier, the whole idea of this Strand is to develop ideas, recommendations and solutions which local leading figures and local people will work on together to make a difference in the city. Peterborough curriculum. This is all about improving the educational opportunities for young people and encourage them to become more active within their communities by connecting what they learn in school with the places that they live. In short, it's about making Peterborough a learner too. We have 5 school partners. There are 3 primary schools and 2 secondary schools. One of the secondary schools is an academy, one is a community school. The next stage is to attract community partners, parents, local community groups, businesses who are interested in working with schools to forge new relationships and to develop a Peterborough curriculum. The approach will promote a sense of attachment by establishing the city as a place where learning happens beyond the school gates, and uses what Peterborough has to offer, such as history, such as new hospital, for example, as a place for learning. And the example I always give for that is that because we've got a new hospital, how good would it be to have 15-year-olds who are doing science going to the hospital once a week to learn about anatomy? A very, very simple but I think powerful example. We also know that young people learn better when learning is supported out of school. Therefore, the Strand will develop a network of highly skilled practitioners in area-based curriculum design. We want a group of teachers who will really get into this and really become experts in developing a curriculum which is using Peterborough as a learning tool. The Strand will also increase the number, quality and diversity of relationships between schools, parents and other individuals and organisations. We know that schools do struggle to engage parents with their children's learning. It's always about promoting collaborative ways in which to deal with obstacles such as learning outside of the classroom. I was talking to a teacher recently who said the risk assessments we have to do, the bits of paper that we have to fill in to do some learning outside of the classroom is at times mind-boggling. If only we could make it easier. This Strand will help us do that. We also want to promote the ability for a wide range of people and organisations so they can easily access schools to work with them and their pupils, and that the city owns certain aspects of the schooling of its users. In 2010-11, the curriculum year in 2010-11, work will be done with the 5 partner schools to design the curriculum, and the curriculum year 11-12 will deliver that pilot curriculum. The hope is that beyond 2012, Peterborough will have schools lining up to be part of the Peterborough curriculum model and really help it flourish beyond the initial 2-year programme. Arts and social change. This is the largest of the 7, and I could probably talk for the next hour and a half just on this Strand, because it has several components. In essence, it's about how the creative arts and local people can drive social change, helping people to help themselves, and promote a sense of belonging both at a neighbourhood and a citywide level. And as you can imagine, this is the strand that the Arts Council has particular interest in. One of the aims is to foster the conditions which will lead to the development of a creative arts hub in the city. The creative artists in the city will tell you that what they don't have is somewhere where they can come together and collaborate and really help their movement become visible. At the minute, it's underground. And we want, as do the Arts Council, as do the creative arts community in the city, to use this 2 years to create the conditions so that beyond 2012, we can move towards a creative arts hub in the city. These are the 5 components. The first one is called creative gatherings. In essence, these are facilitated networking events of the creative arts communities in the city. And for those organisations external to the city but are currently working within it. So for example, Eastern Angles are a touring company, I believe, based in Ipswich, who are doing some work in Peterborough and producing some shows in Peterborough. 7 of the gatherings will be held over 2 years, with 5 being facilitated. The idea is that to ensure sustainability, participants will increasingly take the lead in developing the content and outcomes of the gatherings, resulting in the last 2 gatherings being completely and utterly delivered by the creative artists in the city. This will lead to a creative arts movement in the city which is no longer seen as underground, but one which can develop and influence change in the city. We've already had 2 gatherings, and already the reaction from the creative arts community is positive. We've got new faces coming to the table, which bring fresh ideas, fresh thoughts, mixing with people we know and love within the city. Vivacity is the city's new cultural trust. It's only been in existence since April. It was what was known as the cultural services within the local authority. And they are madly keen on these gatherings because they see this as a great opportunity in which to work with a group of creative artists in the city to develop future cultural strategies and so on. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the city has massive growth plans, and one of the questions businesses often ask is, what's the culture offer like in Peterborough? And actually at the minute it's a bit underground, it's a bit understated. And that does at times hamper our ability to attract new businesses. Experiments in placemaking. Local artists are in the process of being partnered with neighbourhood managers, who are City Council employees, to work with communities to promote a sense of place and attachment between people. So, for example, one artist will design and build a portable mantelpiece. And this mantelpiece will be taken into communities, and local residents will be asked to bring an item or an object from their house, place it on the mantelpiece, and talk about that object, what it means to them, and help other people, their neighbours, other community groups, understand why it means what it means to them, given where they are in Peterborough and the neighbourhoods that they live. The idea being, as I said, to promote a sense of place and attachment between people. Dialogue in action. 10 partnerships of artists with professionals in Peterborough. For example, a writer with a police officer, or an artist with an environmental officer. This will offer the public sector officer an insight into creative ways in which to deliver services, whilst the artist gains experience at the sharp end of life in the public sector. Artist residencies. 2 year-long residencies from spring 2011 to spring 2012. And these artists will be based at the heart of communities on a part-time basis. And we're in the process of asking communities to bid to have these artists in residence. Why do they want them? What will these artists do for them? What can they help them achieve within their communities? What can they help them change and make a difference in their communities? And how can they become more involved in their community's life and make a positive impact? And finally, commissions. 2 commissions based on the core themes of the programme: participation, attachment, and innovation. The first is called Take Me To Tours. And this has been delivered by an organisation called Encounters, who did some great work in Dewsbury, I believe last year. These are personal tours, which will see 36 groups of individuals or groups of people from across the city share their Peterborough life with others by taking them to places which mean something to them in their neighbourhoods. So, for example, people will be asked to take me to a place where you feel safe, take me to a place which inspires you, take me to a place where you believe needs to be improved, take me to a place where you feel unsafe. Again, it's about making connections between people and the communities that they live, and understanding what their communities, how their communities impact on their lives and can have a change, a positive change on their lives. The tours offer the chance for people to reflect and share their experience of Peterborough, as well as get a glimpse into the lives of other people from across the city. There'll be a vinyl event in December with all participants coming together to share their thoughts and their experiences of Take Me To. The next strand is recovery capital. Basically, this is all about developing user-centred drug and alcohol services. We know that substance misuse cuts across all levels of society. The experience of individual users, the impact of that misuse has, and the ability of individual users to overcome their related problems varies greatly. As such, an individual's ability to move away from misuse is related to the environment in which they find themselves, their own characteristics, and a range of resources available to them. This is recovery capital. In Peterborough, we have about 1,500 problematic drug users. I have to say that this is no different to any other city of similar sizes. We have high levels of drug-related crime, we have high levels of unplanned exit from treatment, very low levels of recovery, and so the story goes on. In short, the services are not doing what they should